Cornel Rasanga, AMOTH, Governor of SIAYA County. Welcome to the JSO interview.
Thank you.
Governor, the object of the exercise is quite simply to expose you to the wider public. We have a new dispensation, the dispensation of devolved county governments, and you happen to be the governor of SIAYA. The county, by the way, that puts us in mind of one Barack Obama, yes, because Kogelo is in SIAYA County. More of that anon. Let's start off with you and say, quite simply, tell us about yourself.
Yes, having studied economics at the University of Nairobi and having been employed in the government as a supplies officer for over 30 years, and having studied law, I thought I had what it takes to be a governor, because what I have done in the government is exactly what is required to be done.
Would you expand on that statement?
Yes, because the management of a county government mainly involves the identification of projects that are supposed to be delivered to the people. It involves implementation of the projects that are supposed to be delivered to the people. It involves monitoring and evaluation of those projects that are supposed to be delivered to the people. And entirely that is what I was doing in the government as a procurement officer.
Right, okay, you've told us something about yourself. Now let's assume that we know nothing. If you had to explain what SIAYA is, where SIAYA is, what would you say? Because you are aware of the fact that many Kenyans haven't traveled the land, and there are bits of Kenya that people in my village, for example, have never seen, including
yes,
the capital city.
SIAYA is to the west of Kisumu.
Right.
And is bordered to the north, to the north by Kakamega.
Right.
And to the east by Busia.
Right.
As a district, and as a county, and to the west by Lake Victoria.
Right.
Yes.
So the lake is one of the assets that you have.
So the lake is one of the assets that we have.
Right. Okay, understood. Now, when you went in and said, I wish to be governor, what did you feel had to be achieved in SIAYA historically? Would you see yourself as a county that's been ignored, marginalized by previous political administrations?
Yes, to a large extent that has been the case, and therefore it required somebody who really knows what that marginalization was about, and who would be able to inspire and mobilize the people.
So is this the explanation you're going to give, that some sort of Facebook post puts you 2 months into the administration as one of the 10 worst administered counties in the land, in that you're starting at the bottom from the very beginning? Would you accept that?
I would not accept it, because the parameters that they are using could not be the right parameters for gauging somebody into an office for 2 months alone.
Well, they're probably trying to suggest, Governor, that so far you've got this huge budget of over 210 billion shillings. Isn't that each county is meant to get 210 billion shillings?
Yes, and it is yet to come, and we are putting in structures,
right,
to make sure that when that 210 comes,
right,
you have the structures to move.
Right.
Yes.
So they're basically saying, do you think that formulation speaks to the fact that you're one of the poorest counties? So we're not say worst performing, that you're poor?
Not really, not really, because I believe that is a very wrong measurement. I am just cautious. I'm cautious as a former government operative, so that you don't just move into something without looking at the law, without looking at the regulation, so that you, or else you would be trampling on very many minefields.
Right, okay, so you are already thinking about the ministers that you're going to have in your county, because you have that right. Is SIAYA County, in terms of the Kenya we want, is it going to be quite simply a Luo county? It's a county for Luos, with Luos, from Luos, etc.
Well, for the ministers, I'm going to recruit SIAYA mainly.
Right.
But for the chief officers, I may have to go out because that is where merit is required.
So you could employ outside the county?
Yes. But remember, SIAYA has got quite enough people who are merited to.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Okay, so we're still thinking about the 210 billion. Where do you stand in this whole saga about people wanting to give themselves luxury vehicles, buy themselves residences? Do you see yourself as wanting a huge car before you can travel your county? Are we going to hear that Governor AMOTH has bought himself a Prado?
A Prado, I have even a Prado.
Already?
Without the government. So
right, so that's not one of your problems.
It's not a wonder.
Okay, so
yes.
Where are you going to house yourself?
I'm going to stay at home. I stay at home, in my own home.
Right.
Yes.
Right, we're still going to go back onto this question of monies. We know that there was meant to be an authority that was meant to talk about the transition from national to devolved governments, what belongs to whom, and this was meant to be taking place in stages. But now apparently it's all going to happen immediately. So you're going to be given your millions and you're going to be told to spend them. How do you respond to that as a lawyer and an economist?
That is quite in order. Maybe the capacity, because it is necessary to have the capacity first.
Governor, you're going to be given sums of money that we as Kenyans cannot even imagine. 1 million shillings, maybe 2 million shillings, 1 billion shillings.
Let me tell you,
yes.
that money is very little, because from my budget, 2.6 billion is supposed to be for personal emoluments. Personal emoluments, meaning it is supposed to go to salaries, yeah, and allowances for the staff within the county. That leaves you with 1.4. And 1.4 is for projects, right? And I think that is just a drop in the ocean.
Okay, so there are two things. There's going to be, you're leading me to ask you where your priorities might lie, because you're basically saying I'm not going to be given enough money. With the money that you have, it's a big county. Counties by their nature are going to be huge geographical entities. Where are you going to start? Is clanism going to be a factor, because it's going to be predominantly Luo? Are you going to start by favoring your own clan, your own region?
That does not come in. What is important is...
It is the reality of that part of the world, Governor.
We shall be going by what we have enumerated in the budget, because there has to be a strategic plan. And that strategic plan states how you are going to implement the projects that you have in the county. So apart from taking care of the salaries and personal emoluments, the projects as they have already been lined up in the strategic plan, the work plan will be followed without looking at which area and which area, so that you go according to that plan until the whole execution is done.
You already have a strategic plan?
I'm already working on the strategic plan, because, you know, previously,
right?
Yeah, the law requires that the strategic plan be there first,
right,
before the funds come in. But this is the first start, and therefore the budget came in, so the funds are coming in, and the strategic plan is supposed to be there.